Yes, chaps, this video is going to be straight up comic relief. There's a bit of thinking from some wise words, but overall, this is just a mock fest that will hopefully give us all some giggles. So this is from J.K. Rowling. We're constantly told this is about trans rights. It isn't. It's about women's rights, and trans activists demand that those rights should be dismantled, assuming this is something to do with Labour being bollocks and all of that. First off, J.K. Rowling is an absolute whack job. Why the right supports her simply because she's pro one thing but against them in every other aspect is completely cockeyed to me. How do you care about women's rights but you favor mass immigration? Why the hell does anyone listen to this rumor? It's absolutely absurd. Frankly, to me, the entire concept of women's rights is completely redundant. How do you claim equality, but still oppression and a protected class at the same time? Oh, but bollocks to patriarchy. And then they wonder why there's a woman problem on the right. You talk, and we notice you're irrational and nonsensical. It's very easy to spot, but anyway. This gay chap, CK, comes in. Welcome to Oppression Olympics here, by the way. Because you know when the topic of trans rights is mentioned on the internet, it's like a magical horn being blown that summons all the people that should be in a mental asylum. The man says you cannot be for trans rights and also for women's and gay rights. They fundamentally go against each other by definition. Which is 100% true. I don't need to elaborate on that because CK is going to be doing that for us in a few moments. But this woman comes in, Celia, dog mom, takes pictures in bathrooms and likes abortion. New York. I wonder if they'll ever realize how repulsive that makes them sound. Hello, CK, Women for Trans Rights here. She sounds like she's a journalist in the press corps, doesn't she? What part of trans rights goes against women's rights? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Now, I'm not sure I'm going off somebody else's word here because I don't know the law, but apparently the last phrase originates from a Reddit meme. Dear God, I hope so, because it'll be just that much funny if it's true. But explain it to me like I'm 5. There are so many ways to make fun of this phrase. My immediate reaction, naturally being, there is no way in hell you'd be able to understand any of this because you'd be fucking 5. If you said, explain it to me like I'm clueless, that at least makes some sense, because the implication is merely you lack some knowledge. But saying like I'm 5 implies a 5-year-old can grasp this argument. You presently don't have the knowledge or thinking capacity to understand this, whilst you also claim to support these rights, yet simultaneously seem to express you don't understand their contradictory nature, all the while implying a 5-year-old can grasp this and you don't. Women on the internet, less sex shock and stupid every time. So CK replies, I'm glad you asked, but I'm sad you need someone to explain something that is so obvious to the majority of other people. Well, he is gay, I would expect a bit of snark. Well done, sir. Let's break this down. Do go on, sir. Women's rights are based in sex-based rights, much like gay rights. Okay, let me just rant here for a moment. No, because women and gays are not the same thing. One is sex, the other one is sexuality. Again, rights for either group is redundant. What is a right? Andrew Wilson's definition, entitlement absent of duty. So by what metric do any of these variables qualify you for rights? Oh, because you were discriminated against at some point. And? Does it ever occur to anyone discrimination has merit? We discriminate against each other all the damn time. But now, for some reason, these arbitrary characteristics that are completely inorganic, completely fictional, totally made up, justifies growth of the state and new legal definitions. Why? We know why. I just said it, growth of the state. So when you change the definition of the foundation of these rights to a fluid definition, it nullifies those rights completely because it now becomes something anyone can freely opt into. Correct. For example, a woman breaks the law and is sent to jail with other women. Because you believe in trans rights, you believe that any man who identifies as a woman should be able to be placed in a cell with this woman. You don't care that he might be there because he abused women, you only care that he identifies into that category. So to you, he automatically belongs there. Now apply this mindset to every safety and space for women, from sports, bathroom scholarships, victim shelters, etc. You're ignoring the well-being and safety of real women to put the interests of men before them, all of them. Again, correct. Which is overwhelmingly supported by women on the left. Which just goes to show you they're utterly brainless lemmings who just follow the regime no matter how nonsensical or destructive it is. If you can sell it to them that what they're doing is in the name of fairness, they will go along with the most destructive draconian measures ever concocted. The very core of this is your belief that women is nothing more than a feeling and not a tangible classification based in reality. When you make women an amorphous blob anyone can opt into, there is no way you can verify the legitimacy of someone's claims. By your side's own definition, you believe that anyone can become a woman by declaration, even retroactively. It's all just a feeling or an idea to you, which makes it fluid and invalidates it completely. Are you following yet? To which this idiot replies, Jesus Christ, his mansplaining did not disappoint. And here, my God, dude, you clearly know nothing about being a woman. Yes, very intellectual for a woman pushing 50, I'm assuming, and living in New York. Well, then again, based on what you said so far, this is not exactly unexpected. Let's be honest. She, of course, naturally has no rebuttal, nothing of value to add whatsoever. Whereas I naturally always add value because I never demean, degrade, insult, belittle, taunt, ridicule, or patronize anyone in any way whatsoever. Anyway, for the record, this is just one of many, many examples like this. There is a substantial portion of women, of all ages, mind you, on social media, overwhelmingly liberal, but it's definitely not a political divide, who for whatever reason just turns the environment into an attention-seeking drama fest. They desire attention, and I swear the default mode of operation for them is simply any publicity is good publicity. No matter how stupid they look, no matter how bad it makes their sex look, as long as it strokes their ego, they will be up for it. It's just a numbers game to them, and the worst aspect of their vapid happiness just gets cranked and amped when there's an attention dispenser. Again, no idea why. And in typical fashion, because they have no ability to self-reflect, can't add two and two together and recognize that witnessing a large collection of women behaving in this manner over and over again might leave men with the impression females are kinda dull and thick. Again, I think I'm asking for a bit much here. But anyway, she proceeds to get roasted by other women. Very respectfully as well, I might add. When the guy elaborating is gay, they seem to just understand what's being said. Very strange, like when there's no competing sexual dynamic at play, all of a sudden they seem to be able to think. Again, very strange. Woman in probably mid to late 40s being taken to task for being unable to understand how one set of rights destroys that of her own sex, being defended by a gay guy. Man, our timeline really has some weird Twilight Zone shit, doesn't it? So I made fun of the mansplaining thing, because she said, explain it to me like I'm 5, then proceeds to act like an attention-seeking moron when someone indulges her request. So I made fun of her being an attention-seeking moron. I get to mock, she gets the attention. Welcome to the internet. In this picture, because the frickin' nose ring is a damn meme at this point, these tweets are 7 hours apart. And here she is accusing me of always being in her mentions. Listen here, you stuck-up gimp. I threw up 2 quote tweets about you in the space of 7 bloody hours. I had no idea who the hell you were up until someone else showed me your asinine behavior as you got your ass handed to you for being unable to understand the very concept of rights. Get over yourself, you sad wanker. Look at this. There's 5 damn tweets about me. Note the time difference, 19 to 2 hours ago. She is in New York, 5 hours behind me. This sad excuse for a woman started tweeting about me before 9 o'clock the very next damn morning. The one about the pronouns in the bio, she doesn't have pronouns in her bio. The tweet isn't even about her. What a fucking idiot. Never mind that social media is bad for young women. I think it's bad for their sex, period. No pun intended. The reason I assume she's single is because, well, look at her. And she's got this pin. Do you want to repel men? Well, now you can with Celia's patented man-repellent list. This list is compiled using my extensive research of douche canoes and dick holes. I didn't even speak this way when I was a third of her age, and I'm a guy. Please adhere to the following list for maximum repelling. Heaven's sake, I can boil it down to just 3. Be loud, fat, and stupid. There's almost 100 of them, written in 2019, and this is supposed to be satirical. What kind of a pathetic excuse for a male marries this? Satire my ass. If you married and your wife writes this kind of bollocks, you're doing something wrong. If you married her after she wrote this shit, then you did something wrong by marrying her. My criticism of the opposite sex is not because I hate them, it's because I'm disappointed by their dim-wittery and absence of logic. And the reason why the ladies around this channel are based is because they can understand that. Whereas she just comes across like a desperate tryhard at best and a miserable misandrist at worst. One thing that is not at all surprising though, yet still continues to be really creepy, is the fact that damn near everyone who replied to these posts have pronouns in their bio. And even weirder is the amount of them who seem to think we're angered or offended by that. No one is angered or offended by the pronouns, you plebs. They're disappointed. They're just unsurprised you say stupid things because, Pronouns in the bio is like identifying as the kid who eats paste. We expect you to say stupid things. But really, it does speak to a larger problem in society. Because let's be honest, these people are all cultists. They do the same thing, they say the same things, they identify as the same things. It is a religion. Which makes the whole concept of free speech and the sharing of ideas, the town square, etc., that concept is farcical at best. Because if why they believe what they do is not based on logical rationality or some kind of fact-based information, but merely adherence to a certain code, well then anything antithetical to this code is rejected. This is why I said before on X, there is absolutely no point in engaging with any of these types. They're basically machines with a corrupted OS. They have a doctrine, and reality itself is antithetical to that doctrine. I call them the labelers. Suggest an input they don't like, violate one of the tenets of their doctrine, they will respond accordingly with the appropriate alienating label. Anything you say is going to piss them off. They don't want to listen. They don't want to learn. They will predictably react like a machine with a bad input code and spaz. Oh yeah, and somebody else has admin privileges for access, read and write. But really the problem with all of this, liberalism has either transformed into a new type of religion based around equality, which means force, and so will only make things more illiberal, or removed the church entirely, only to replace it with the worship of the state, which glorifies equality as is enforced by the state, which accelerates its perpetual growth in this weird looping mechanism. The other thing, and this is where it gets really nightmarish, is mass man has destroyed the very concept of local bonds in many places. So no more families, small businesses or towns, church, state or provinces, the nation state or love of land. And these types are really the victims of these concepts and institutions being dismantled. Because what they now buy into is not only utterly nonsensical or void of any function, well, bar the group signaling, but it's completely tied to the regime. And the regime ultimately stands for nothing. What do these people add that objectively makes humanity better by any metric whatsoever? Bugger all. It's just another category, and that's it. The metaphysical aspect of their being essentially doesn't exist. They have this group identity that's just there, because nothing else is. And so what you're left with is simply people who have a group identity artificially constructed by power with no purpose other than it's what they've been taught to value, but nothing more than this. It's why they seem so vacuous and boring. You can't have a purely commercial-based materialistic society. It ends in a hollow race for numbers, a GDP for example. It powers nothing, it animates nothing, and the people who buy into all of this are essentially just materialistic dopamine drones and nothing more, because they ultimately live for nothing. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.